In the realm of human interactions, a shadow lurks, one that can twist intentions, distort truths, and exploit vulnerabilities. Dark psychology is the exploration of these shadowy tactics and how they can be used not just to influence, but to manipulate and control others. But what does it mean to delve into this darker aspect of human behavior? Dark psychology is not merely a collection of tricks to deceive others, it's a comprehensive study that delves into the depths of human emotion and cognition. It encompasses methods that can be surprisingly effective at bending the will of others, often without their awareness. Let's start by dissecting the foundational elements of dark psychology. At its core, it consists of three primary components: Machiavellianism, narcissism, and psychopathy. Each of these represents a facet of human personality that can facilitate manipulation. Machiavellianism is characterized by cunning, scheming, and unscrupulous behavior in interpersonal relationships. The term originates from Niccolò Machiavelli's writings in the 16th century, where he famously suggested that the ends justify the means. Those high in this trait see others as pawns in their game, and often employ deception to achieve their goals. Narcissism, on the other hand, involves a sense of entitlement and a pervasive need for admiration. Narcissists manipulate others not just for personal gain but also as a means to maintain their inflated self-image. They often charm their way into people's lives only to exploit their emotional vulnerabilities later. Lastly, psychopathy represents a lack of empathy and remorse, coupled with manipulative tendencies. Psychopaths are skilled at reading others, enabling them to exploit emotions for personal advantage. Research indicates that individuals with psychopathic traits can be highly charming, which allows them to weave intricate webs of deception. Understanding these three components is essential because they form the basis of various manipulation tactics. For example, a classic Machiavellian tactic is gaslighting, making someone doubt their own perceptions and memories. Studies show that individuals who experience gaslighting can suffer significant emotional and psychological harm. Take, for example, the story of a woman named Sarah. Sarah was in a relationship with a man who often made her question her memory of events. He would insist that Sarah was overreacting or misremembering situations, leaving her feeling isolated and confused. This tactic not only eroded her confidence but also brought her to a brink where she doubted her own sanity. While Sarah's case is tragic, it serves as a critical reminder of the impact these tactics can have on one's life. Recognizing such behaviors early can serve as a line of defense against manipulation. As we explore this complex territory of dark psychology, we must also understand the ethical implications surrounding its study. While the knowledge of these tactics can empower individuals to protect themselves, it also raises concerns about misuse. In the wrong hands, these strategies can become tools for coercion and exploitation, reminding us that knowledge can be a double-edged sword. As we step deeper into the heart of dark psychology, we will discuss specific manipulation tactics employed by those who understand these psychological mechanisms effectively. Stay tuned as we reveal the unsettling truths about how these dark tactics infiltrate our everyday lives, and what you can do to safeguard your mind and spirit. Welcome back to our dive into dark psychology. Having scratched the surface, it's time to immerse ourselves in the actual tactics used by manipulators. Knowing these tactics can serve not only as a reminder to watch for them in others but also as a powerful tool for self-reflection. One of the most pervasive tactics in the Manipulator's Handbook is the foot-in-the-door technique. This method involves making a small request to which the target is likely to agree, followed by a larger request. The initial request may seem harmless, a simple favor or a small commitment. Once the target accepts, they are more likely to say yes to the subsequent larger request. This tactic is rooted in the principle of consistency, as people strive to appear consistent in their commitments. For instance, consider a charity organization that initially asks for just a signature on a petition. Once the person agrees, they are more likely to contribute financially later. Research published in the Journal of Personality and Social Psychology found that individuals who complied with an initial request were more than twice as likely to fulfill a subsequent larger request. Next, let's look at the door in the face technique. This is essentially the opposite of the foot in the door method. In this case, the manipulator starts with a large request that is expected to be refused, followed by a smaller, more reasonable request. The contrast between the two requests makes the second one seem more appealing. This tactic plays into the principle of reciprocity. When someone concedes on a larger demand, we feel inclined to reciprocate with compliance. Imagine a salesperson who first offers an extremely high-priced car. After the potential buyer expresses shock and declines, the salesperson then presents a more reasonably priced option. The individual may feel relieved and compelled to agree to the second offer. Studies have demonstrated that the door-in-the-face technique can lead to compliance rates significantly higher than random requests alone. Another tactic worth mentioning is love bombing. Often observed in cults and toxic relationships, love bombing involves overwhelming a person with affection, admiration, and attention to manipulate their emotional state. It creates a dependency on the affection being offered, making it challenging for the recipient to step back and critically assess the situation. For example, a person may enter a relationship and immediately shower their partner with extravagant gifts and constant declarations of love. Initially, this can feel exhilarating, but over time, it can become suffocating. When the affection is withdrawn or becomes conditional, the victim struggles to find their footing. They may feel the need to earn that affection back, leading to an unhealthy cycle of dependency. Moving on, we also encounter the use of guilt as a manipulation tactic. Guilt is a powerful emotion that can be wielded to gain compliance from others. A manipulator may invoke feelings of guilt to pressure someone into doing something they wouldn't ordinarily agree to. Take the story of a friend who pressures another into attending a gathering. The manipulative friend may say something like, "I can't believe you'd skip this. It's so important to me." This tactic can make the other person feel selfish or inconsiderate for not attending, leading them to capitulate out of guilt rather than genuine desire. Finally, let's discuss emotional blackmail. This is a particularly insidious tactic where manipulators threaten to withdraw love or support unless their demands are met. It creates a toxic environment where individuals feel they must comply to prevent emotional chaos in their lives. Emotional blackmail can manifest in relationships, family dynamics, or even workplaces. Imagine a scenario where a parent tells their child, "If you don't get a good grade, I will be so disappointed in you." This creates a fear of losing parental approval, thus manipulating the child's behavior. Understanding this tactic can help individuals recognize when they are being coerced and can empower them to establish healthier boundaries. As we unravel these dark tactics, it becomes evident that the application of dark psychology can vary widely. The important takeaway is that these tactics exist in many forms and can be subtle. Knowing them allows individuals to empower themselves, recognize their own vulnerabilities, and fortify their mental defenses. Next, we'll delve deeper into how these tactics can be effectively countered, equipping you with the tools to maintain control over your own mind and emotions. Are you ready to uncover strategies that can shield you from these shadowy influences? Welcome back as we continue to explore the intricate world of dark psychology. Having examined the various manipulation tactics, it's crucial to focus on how to defend against these influences. After all, knowledge alone is not enough, applying it is where real power lies. The first and foremost strategy is self-awareness. Recognizing your vulnerabilities can arm you against potential manipulation. Reflect on past interactions that made you feel uncomfortable or coerced. Ask yourself, what emotions were triggered? How did you react? Understanding your emotional triggers can help you maintain composure when faced with manipulative tactics in the future. Another key defensive strategy is setting clear boundaries. Manipulators often seek to exploit emotional or personal boundaries. Clearly communicating your limits can deter those who attempt to push you into uncomfortable situations. It may require practice and assertiveness, but setting boundaries is essential for maintaining healthy relationships. Consider the story of Jason, who found himself overcommitting to friends' requests due to his desire to please others. After feeling drained and resentful, he realized the need to assert boundaries. With guidance from a therapist, he began to practice saying no without guilt. This transformed his relationships and his self-esteem, as he learned to prioritize his own needs. Next, developing critical thinking skills is invaluable when navigating complex social dynamics. Analyzing situations with a discerning mind allows you to see through manipulative tactics. When faced with requests or emotional pressure, pause and ask, what is the underlying motivation here? For instance, if a friend continually badgers you to lend money, critically assess their situation. Are they genuinely in need, or are they exploiting your generosity? By distancing yourself emotionally, you can make informed decisions rather than responding impulsively out of guilt or obligation. Moreover, maintaining a strong support system can help shield you from manipulation. Surrounding yourself with trustworthy individuals creates a safe space where you can express concerns and gain perspective. Friends or family can provide insights you may overlook, helping you navigate social situations more effectively. A story of a woman named Lisa illustrates this point. Lisa often felt overwhelmed by her boss's demands but hesitated to voice her concerns. After confiding in a close friend about her discomfort, her friend encouraged her to speak up. This gave Lisa the confidence to approach her supervisor and advocate for her workload. She discovered that expressing her limits brought respect from her colleagues, reinforcing her boundaries. Another effective strategy is educating yourself about manipulative behaviors. Knowledge is power, and understanding psychological tactics enhances recognition when they are at play. Workshops, reading materials, or self-help books can provide additional insights into recognizing dark psychology. Lastly, practicing emotional regulation can fortify your defenses. Emotional resilience allows you to respond calmly when faced with manipulation. Techniques such as mindfulness, meditation, or even deep breathing exercises can help you manage your emotions and respond thoughtfully instead of reactively. As you cultivate these defenses, remember that you can only control your own responses. While you cannot prevent others from attempting manipulation, you can dictate how you react to it. We are now about to explore how dark psychology infiltrates various realms of life, ranging from personal relationships to workplaces and even digital interactions. Are you prepared to uncover the widespread implications of these tactics in our everyday lives? As we venture further into the domain of dark psychology, we can't overlook its profound impact on personal relationships. Relationships should nourish growth and fulfillment, but they can also become breeding grounds for manipulation and control if one party wields dark psychological tactics. One of the most heartbreaking manifestations of dark psychology in relationships is emotional abuse. Emotional abusers utilize manipulation to undermine their partner's self-esteem and sense of reality. This insidious form of control often goes unnoticed, as the scars can be invisible yet deeply damaging. Consider the case of Mark and Julia. Mark was charming, attentive, and seemingly perfect at first. However, as the relationship developed, he began to subtly criticize Julia's decisions and appearance. Over time, Julia internalized these criticisms and became increasingly isolated from her friends and family. She lost her sense of self, believing she wasn't worthy of love or respect. The emotional manipulation subtly shifted her reality, making her question her worth. Unfortunately, emotional abuse is often dismissed as less severe than physical abuse. But studies indicate that emotional trauma can have long-lasting effects on mental health, potentially leading to disorders such as anxiety and depression. A survey conducted by the National Domestic Violence Hotline found that around 60% of respondents reported experiencing emotional abuse. In addition to emotional abuse, let's consider romantic manipulation. This refers to tactics used to maintain control over a partner through jealousy, love bombing, and emotional blackmail. Toxic relationships often thrive on insecurity, with one partner using manipulation to keep the other in a constant state of anxiety and dependency. A classic example is the cycle of jealousy. One partner may monitor the other's interactions, issuing ultimatums about whom they can befriend. This tactic isolates the targeted individual, creating an environment where their sense of self-worth is tied to their partner's approval. The consequences can be devastating. Individuals trapped in these manipulative dynamics may feel they cannot escape, as they often have been conditioned to believe they cannot be happy without their partner. Moreover, workplace relationships can also fall victim to dark psychology tactics. Manipulators may exploit power dynamics for personal gain, using emotional blackmail or coercive persuasion to control colleagues. This creates an unhealthy workplace environment that can lead to burnout and dissatisfaction. Studies show that employment settings featuring high levels of emotional manipulation often lead to increased turnover rates and decreased productivity. Consider a scenario where an employee feels pressured to take on extra work due to their boss's emotional manipulation. If the boss suggests, "I really need you to do this for me," or things might go downhill, the employee may agree out of fear, potentially leading to burnout and resentment. In addition, the digital world has introduced new dimensions to dark psychology. Online interactions can provide fertile ground for manipulative behaviors, especially when individuals hide behind screens. Scammers often employ tactics such as catfishing or deception to exploit individuals emotionally and financially. The anonymity of the internet fosters an environment where manipulation can flourish. Cyberbullying, for instance, is a form of emotional abuse that can severely affect mental health and self-esteem. A report from the Cyberbullying Research Center found that nearly 37% of students aged 12 to 17 have experienced bullying online. As we uncover the complexities of dark psychology in relationships, it's essential to recognize signs of manipulation. Stay vigilant and trust your instincts when something feels off. In our next chapter, we will reveal how dark psychology extends its reach into various sectors, including politics and marketing. Are you ready to explore the unsettling ways these manipulative tactics shape the very world around us? In the bustling world of business, there exists a darker undercurrent, one where manipulation and deceit are often masked by corporate jargon and niceties. Many successful companies have been built on the cunning use of dark psychology, utilizing tactics that exploit human behavior for profit. Let's take a closer look at how these tactics unfold within corporate structures, from boardrooms to branding strategies. Consider the infamous case of Enron, once the seventh largest company in America. It collapsed in 2001 due to an elaborate scheme of accounting fraud and manipulation. The executives engaged in dark tactics, presenting false financial statements to inflate stock prices, thereby misleading investors. Their whole strategy was built on psychological manipulation. They implemented a culture where whistleblowing was nearly impossible and where employees were pitted against each other in competition. Such environments often breed toxic workplace cultures. Research indicates that organizations with high levels of manipulation see decreased employee morale and increased turnover rates. According to studies, companies that engage in deceptive practices not only harm their employees but also erode trust, both internally and externally, leading to a decline in overall productivity. One of the most notorious tactics employed in corporate manipulation is the use of psychological pressure tactics during negotiations. Picture this: a sales representative trained in the art of persuasion strategically uses time constraints to pressure potential clients into making rash decisions. By instilling a fear of missing out, they leverage the scarcity principle, a psychological trigger that can lead to impulsive actions. Furthermore, corporate branding frequently employs dark psychology techniques. Companies tap into the emotional vulnerabilities of consumers. Take the realm of advertising, where targeted ads exploit insecurities. A study by the Journal of Consumer Research revealed that ads that play on fears and insecurities resonate more profoundly with viewers, leading to increased sales. Brands use testimonials, scarcity, and social proof to create a perception of value that may not exist. The dark side of corporate dynamics extends even further. In recent years, a wave of whistleblowers has emerged, exposing harsh truths behind well-known companies. The Volkswagen emissions scandal, for example, revealed intentional manipulation of diesel emissions tests, showcasing a blatant disregard for ethics in favor of profit. Employees felt pressured to comply with directives that contradicted their moral compass, often leading to severe personal and societal consequences. To counter these dark tactics, organizations must foster ethical cultures. Transparency should not be a buzzword but a practice woven into the corporate fabric. By promoting ethical behavior and accountability, businesses can avoid the pitfalls of dark psychology. Companies like Patagonia have showcased how ethical practices can lead to robust brand loyalty and consumer trust. In conclusion, the world of business is rife with dark psychology tactics that can manipulate both employees and consumers. Understanding this reality is the first step toward fostering an ethical and transparent corporate culture. As we dive deeper into the impact of these tactics, one question looms large: what happens when dark psychology infiltrates the realm of politics and governance? Politics, by its very nature, often flirts with the edge of dark psychology. It is a realm where the line between persuasion and manipulation is frequently blurred. Political campaigns are meticulously crafted to exploit the psychological vulnerabilities of the populace, turning fear, hope, and even hatred into political capital. The 2016 U.S. presidential election serves as a stark example of dark psychology's influence. Candidates utilized targeted advertisements on social media platforms to manipulate voter perceptions. For instance, Cambridge Analytica famously harvested data from millions of Facebook users without consent to create psychological profiles that determined the most effective messaging. This case remains a cautionary tale about the intersection of psychology, technology, and ethics in political campaigns. Moreover, fear tactics are often employed to galvanize support. Politicians may exaggerate threats, painting a dire picture of the future to rally their base. The rhetoric of us versus them is commonplace, as seen in debates surrounding immigration and national security. Research shows that fear-based messaging elicits strong emotional responses, leading to heightened support for candidates who capitalize on these fears. Interestingly, emotions can be just as powerful in fostering connection. In the 2008 election, Barack Obama brilliantly utilized the power of hope as a messaging tool. His campaign narrative tapped into the collective desire for change and unity, effectively countering the prevailing fear narratives. However, dark psychology doesn't just stop at elections, it seeps into governance itself. Politicians often use propaganda techniques to maintain control and manipulate the populace. Case studies in authoritarian regimes highlight how misinformation breeds fear, allowing leaders to consolidate power. Consider the tactics employed by regimes like North Korea, where media is tightly controlled to foster a cult of personality around its leaders. To combat these tactics, citizens must develop critical thinking skills. Media literacy programs are essential in teaching individuals how to discern credible information from manipulation. Understanding the psychological tactics at play can empower voters to make informed decisions rather than succumbing to fear-based messaging. As we unravel these dark tactics further, one wonders how individuals can reclaim their power against such pervasive manipulation. Can self-awareness and education serve as the antidote to these dark influences in both politics and everyday life? In our modern digital age, social media has transformed the way we communicate and connect. It has also become a breeding ground for dark psychology tactics, where individuals and organizations exploit our innate psychological vulnerabilities for manipulation. The algorithms that dictate our social media experience are designed to keep us engaged, often at the expense of our mental health and well-being. A study published in the journal Computers and Human Behavior revealed that excessive social media use is correlated with increased feelings of isolation and anxiety. This phenomenon is a direct byproduct of dark psychology, where feelings of inadequacy and social comparison are stoked by idealized online portrayals. Moreover, misinformation spreads like wildfire on these platforms. In 2020, a study found that false information traveled 6 times faster than the truth on Twitter. This manipulation plays on our cognitive biases, particularly the confirmation bias, where individuals seek out and share information that reaffirms their existing beliefs. Social media companies, driven by profit, often prioritize engagement over truthfulness, leading to a toxic information ecosystem. Consider the viral spread of health misinformation during the COVID-19 pandemic. False claims about cures and vaccines proliferated, endangering public health. Emotional appeals, fear-mongering, and sensationalism became the norm, showcasing how dark psychological tactics can have dire implications for society. Another dark tactic is cyberbullying, which exploits the anonymity of the internet to manipulate and harm others. A 2018 study found that approximately 37% of teens experience bullying online, leading to serious psychological consequences. The faceless nature of online interactions can embolden individuals to engage in harmful behaviors they might avoid in person, revealing a troubling aspect of how dark psychology manifests online. As we navigate this labyrinth of social media manipulation, it becomes increasingly vital to foster digital literacy. Encouraging critical thinking about online content can empower users to resist manipulative tactics. Furthermore, social media platforms must prioritize ethical practices and take responsibility for the content shared within their realms. As the digital landscape continues to evolve, one question remains: can we reclaim our agency in the face of overwhelming manipulation, or are we destined to be pawns in a game governed by dark psychological forces? Manipulation, whether it occurs in personal relationships, workplaces, or broader societal contexts, leaves profound psychological scars. Affected individuals often grapple with feelings of doubt, guilt, and confusion long after the manipulative experience has ended. Take the case of Sarah, a bright, ambitious woman who found herself in an emotionally abusive relationship. Over the years, her partner employed various manipulation tactics, from gaslighting to emotional blackmail, leaving her feeling isolated and questioning her reality. It wasn't until she sought therapy that she began to deconstruct the damage inflicted upon her psyche. Through this journey of healing, she learned to recognize manipulation and rebuild her sense of self-worth. Research into the psychological effects of manipulation reveals a myriad of consequences. Survivors often report symptoms akin to post-traumatic stress disorder, PTSD, including anxiety, depression, and a deep-seated mistrust of others. A study published in the Journal of Interpersonal Violence found that individuals who experienced manipulation in relationships often face long-term mental health challenges. Therapeutic interventions, including cognitive behavioral therapy, can provide crucial support in navigating this healing process. Furthermore, creating community support systems is essential for survivors. Groups that encourage shared experiences foster healing and resilience. By connecting with others who have faced similar situations, individuals can find validation and understanding, which is crucial in reclaiming their lives. Education plays a pivotal role in prevention. By raising awareness about dark psychology tactics, we empower individuals to recognize manipulation before it can take hold. Workshops and seminars focusing on emotional intelligence and communication skills can serve as valuable resources. Additionally, teaching young people about healthy relationships can create a generation more equipped to resist manipulation. As we navigate the path of healing, it becomes clear that manipulation does not have to define us. Rather, it can serve as a catalyst for growth and resilience. But how can we create supportive environments that foster healing and empower individuals to rise above manipulation? As we conclude our exploration into dark psychology, it's essential to focus on empowerment. Understanding the tactics of manipulation is only half the battle. Creating a toolkit for resilience is crucial. One of the most effective tools is self-awareness. By understanding our mental and emotional landscapes, we can recognize when we are being manipulated. Mindfulness practices, such as meditation and journaling, promote self-reflection, allowing individuals to tune into their feelings and reactions. Research published in Psychological Science highlights the benefits of mindfulness in enhancing emotional regulation and resilience. Moreover, building a strong support network can provide essential protection against manipulation. Surrounding ourselves with honest, trustworthy individuals creates a buffer against the corrosive effects of dark psychology. Studies show that having supportive relationships contributes significantly to mental well-being and resilience. Education remains a pivotal aspect of empowerment. Teaching critical thinking skills, effective communication, and emotional intelligence can equip individuals to navigate complex social interactions. Programs aimed at young adults can instill these skills early, providing them with the tools to resist manipulation throughout their lives. Additionally, engaging in assertiveness training can be transformative. Learning to express thoughts and feelings confidently fosters a sense of control and reduces susceptibility to manipulation. Assertiveness not only empowers oneself but encourages respectful interactions. As we lift the veil on dark psychology, let's hold on to hope. By fostering resilience through awareness, education, and support, we can not only protect ourselves but also create a culture that discourages manipulation. Consider the impact we can have when we embrace these tools, creating a brighter, more empathetic society. However, as we move forward, it's important to ask ourselves, how can we contribute to a world where dark psychology is less influential, and empathy reigns supreme? In the murky waters of human interaction, deception lurks like a predator, ready to ensnare the unsuspecting. But what drives individuals to lie? Psychologists have long studied the mechanics of deception, diving into the cognitive processes that allow some people to weave intricate webs of lies. At the heart of deception is a psychological phenomenon called self-deception, the ability of individuals to convince themselves of untruths. This serves as a protective mechanism, allowing them to escape uncomfortable realities or even improve their self-image. In 2009, research from the University of Massachusetts revealed shocking results. Participants were asked to lie during a 2-minute conversation. Remarkably, 60% of college students could not go 2 minutes without lying. Simple untruths, whether exaggerations or fabrications, serve a purpose. They can protect social relationships, provide an escape route from conflict, or even bolster one's ego. A striking example of manipulation through deception can be found in the infamous case of Bernie Madoff. Madoff was able to maintain a Ponzi scheme that defrauded investors of billions by mastering the art of deception. His ability to present an illusion of success and stability was so profound that even seasoned investors were ensnared in his trap. Madoff's lies fed into societal norms that valorize wealth and success, demonstrating how dark psychology is intertwined with our collective aspirations. Deception is not solely a conscious choice, it can also be involuntary. Cognitive biases, such as confirmation bias, can lead individuals to disregard contradictory evidence while amplifying information that supports their narrative. In the context of relationships, this bias can cause individuals to dismiss signs of infidelity or emotional manipulation. As we dig deeper into the psychology of deception, we must confront uncomfortable truths about trust. Trust is the bedrock of human interaction, yet it is also the most fragile. The implications of deception extend beyond individual relationships, they ripple across communities and societies. Mistrust erodes the very fabric of societal cohesion, presenting a dark paradox. The more we attempt to connect, the more susceptible we become to manipulation. Signs of deception are varied and complex, but one key indicator is incongruity between verbal and nonverbal cues. A person may say, "I'm happy for you," while their body language betrays discomfort. Recognizing these signs is crucial for self-protection. A study by psychologist Paul Ekman demonstrated that certain microexpressions reveal fleeting emotions that contradict spoken words. Ekman's work has paved the way for understanding deception at a deeper level, offering insights into the signals that can expose a liar. In the digital age, the nature of deception has evolved. Online interactions provide fertile ground for deception to thrive, where anonymity can embolden even the most timid to engage in manipulative behaviors. Cyberbullying, catfishing, and phishing scams are all manifestations of dark psychological tactics in the virtual realm. Victims often find themselves ensnared, battling confusion and betrayal in the wake of deceitful online interactions. At the crux of understanding deception is a call to awareness. As we navigate personal and professional landscapes, the ability to discern truth from misinformation is vital. Amid the cacophony of voices and opinions, honing our critical thinking skills can serve as armor against manipulative tactics. By fostering an environment that values transparency and authenticity, we can gradually dismantle the prevalence of deception in our lives. The journey toward self-awareness, understanding, and ultimately resilience against the tactics of dark psychology is both challenging and enlightening. Are you prepared to see through the veil of deception? The question lingers as we step deeper into the realm of psychological manipulation. Charisma captivates us, drawing us into the orbit of magnetic individuals who seem to exude confidence and charm effortlessly. But what lies beneath the surface of this allure? The concept of the charming manipulator, a person who uses their charisma to exert influence and control over others, is a profound aspect of dark psychology. These charismatic individuals often possess a remarkable ability to read emotions and adapt their behavior to resonate with those around them, effectively becoming a chameleon in social scenarios. The darker implications of charisma can be seen in figures like Jim Jones. As the leader of the People's Temple, Jones used his charm to assemble a devoted following, ultimately leading to the tragic mass suicide of over 900 individuals in Jonestown, Guyana. His charismatic presence initially drew individuals seeking community and purpose, but slowly, he manipulated their vulnerabilities, turning them into followers willing to surrender everything, even their lives. This haunting example illustrates how powerful charisma can morph into a vehicle for destruction when wielded without ethical restraint. Charismatic manipulators often possess traits like high emotional intelligence, allowing them to identify the insecurities and desires of others. Psychopaths, for instance, are often described as superficial charmers. According to a study published in the journal Personality and Individual Differences, some psychopaths can appear extremely charismatic, which complicates their relationships. The same study suggests that charm serves as a powerful weapon in their arsenal, enabling them to exert social influence while concealing their true intentions. This interplay between charm and manipulation raises an essential question: can charisma be harnessed for good? The answer lies in intention. Charisma itself is a neutral trait. It is the motives behind its expression that determine whether it is used to uplift or exploit. A positive example can be found in leaders like Nelson Mandela, whose charm and ability to connect with people fostered unity and healing in post-apartheid South Africa. Mandela's charisma came from a place of empathy and understanding, contrasting sharply with figures like Jones who exploited vulnerabilities for control. Recognizing the signs of a charming manipulator can be a protective measure against emotional and psychological harm. These red flags often include excessive flattery, the use of guilt, and creating dependency. Many victims of manipulation attribute their feelings of self-doubt and confusion to the influence of their charismatic abuser, leading to cycles of emotional distress. It is crucial to foster an awareness of the power dynamics at play, acknowledging that charm can be a double-edged sword. In both personal and professional relationships, the allure of charisma can be overwhelming. Often, the charm of a potential manipulator clouds our judgment, blurring the lines between genuine connection and exploitation. Developing critical observation skills and understanding the complexities of human behavior is essential for safeguarding oneself against these dark psychological tactics. Being aware of how charm can be weaponized creates pathways for healthier interactions and stronger boundaries. As we explore this concept further, it is vital to consider the impact of social conditioning on our perceptions of charisma. Society often idolizes charismatic individuals, creating a culture that unwittingly rewards manipulative behaviors. As we navigate this landscape, the challenge emerges: how can we redefine our relationships with charisma? Can we cultivate a culture that celebrates authenticity over superficial charm? The answer may lie in fostering spaces that prioritize emotional honesty, empathy, and mutual support, qualities that stand in stark contrast to the allure of the charming manipulator. As we peel back the layers of charismatic manipulation, it becomes clear that the onus is on each of us to engage thoughtfully with those around us. Will you be able to differentiate between genuine charisma and the manipulative charm that prowls within our social circles? The journey of understanding continues as we delve further into the depths of dark psychology. Imagine being trapped in a reality where your perceptions are constantly questioned, and the very foundation of your understanding of truth begins to crumble. This harrowing experience often stems from a psychological manipulation tactic known as gaslighting. At its core, gaslighting involves causing someone to doubt their own memories, feelings, or perceptions, turning a person's reality into a distorted version crafted by their manipulator. As we examine this phenomenon, it is crucial to delineate its origins, implications, and harrowing effects on mental health. The term gaslighting originates from a 1938 play titled Gaslight, where a husband manipulates his wife into doubting her sanity. This subtle form of manipulation is not only pervasive in relationships but can also be found in workplaces and even societal structures. A key study published in the journal Psychology of Women Quarterly highlights that women are more frequently subjected to gaslighting in intimate relationships, exacerbating patterns of emotional abuse. The emotional toll is profound, often leading to anxiety, depression, and even PTSD in those who are victims of this manipulation. Gaslighting thrives on power dynamics, where the manipulator asserts dominance over the victim through psychological tactics. Recognizing the signs of gaslighting is essential for breaking free from its clutches. Common signs include constant denial of events, reinterpreting past interactions, and minimalizing the victim's feelings. For many victims, the process of gaslighting serves a dual purpose. It isolates them from support networks and reinforces their dependency on the manipulator. A poignant case study exemplifying the effects of gaslighting involves the story of a woman named Sarah. Over several years, her partner would dismiss her feelings as overly sensitive, chalking up her experiences to paranoia. As a result, Sarah began to internalize these messages, spiraling into self-doubt and confusion about her own reality. Eventually, she found the courage to seek help, but the scars of gaslighting lingered long after the abusive relationship ended. This story brings to light the importance of external validation and support in reclaiming one's sense of self. The impacts of gaslighting extend beyond individual experiences, affecting social dynamics and collective realities. In the political sphere, gaslighting tactics have been deployed to manipulate public perception and control narratives. Think of instances where politicians blatantly deny facts, prompting confusion among the electorate. This manipulation erodes trust in institutions and creates an environment where misinformation flourishes. A chilling recent example can be observed in the context of the COVID-19 pandemic, where leaders' conflicting messages left citizens feeling trapped between conflicting realities. As we examine the personal and societal implications of gaslighting, awareness emerges as a potent tool for resistance. Educating ourselves and others about the tactics of gaslighting can dismantle its power. Building a support network and fostering open, honest communication can create a foundation for those experiencing gaslighting, providing validation and reassurance. Additionally, therapy and counseling can serve as crucial interventions in the healing process. A trained professional can help individuals rebuild their self-worth, offering coping strategies and tools to navigate emotional turmoil. In this battle against dark psychological tactics, resilience and self-awareness become a guiding light. In confronting gaslighting, we must ask ourselves, how can we create environments that foster psychological safety? The antidote to manipulation lies in cultivating spaces where individuals feel heard, empowered, and validated. As we conclude this exploration, the question remains, how can we champion open dialogue and authenticity in our relationships? The transformative journey continues, rooted in a fundamental understanding of ourselves and the psychological landscapes we traverse. Cognitive dissonance is a psychological phenomenon that keeps our minds constantly at work, often without us even realizing it. At its core, cognitive dissonance occurs when we hold two conflicting beliefs or when our actions contradict our beliefs. This tension can create an uncomfortable feeling, pushing us to change our thoughts or behaviors to alleviate that discomfort. Understanding this concept is critical in recognizing how dark psychology tactics exploit our psychological vulnerabilities. One of the most classic examples of cognitive dissonance in action comes from the 1950s, where Leon Festinger conducted one of psychology's most intriguing studies. He infiltrated a doomsday cult that believed the world would end on a specific date. When the prophecy failed and the world didn't end, instead of disbanding, the cult members doubled down on their beliefs. Faced with the discomfort of being wrong, they convinced themselves that their faith had saved the world, thus reducing their cognitive dissonance. Today, cognitive dissonance plays a significant role in darker manipulative strategies. Consider the example of an abusive relationship where the victim might rationalize staying with their partner despite their abusive behavior. The victim may think, "He didn't mean to hurt me," or "things will get better." This is cognitive dissonance at work, a means of coping with the emotional turmoil they experience, often leading to prolonged suffering. In the realm of social media, cognitive dissonance can also be leveraged against users. Many influencers continuously promote products that they themselves may not use, creating a dissonance between their promoted lifestyle and their real life. Followers, upon recognizing this discrepancy, engage in a mental juggle. They may either idolize the influencer even more or start to justify their own purchasing behaviors based on skewed expectations of a perfect life. While cognitive dissonance can lead to an adaptive change of beliefs, it can also be destructive. It is a powerful tool in the hands of those wielding dark psychological techniques. From cult leaders to narcissistic partners, recognizing cognitive dissonance in our lives and the lives of those around us is crucial in breaking free from manipulative chains. Imagine being able to spot these tactics used on you, to understand why you feel the way you do when someone twists your reality. The implications of cognitive dissonance reach far beyond personal relationships. They stretch into advertising, politics, and media strategies. When we acknowledge these manipulative tactics, we empower ourselves to make healthier choices, both emotionally and mentally. But how do we fight back against those who use our cognitive dissonance against us? Understanding cognitive dissonance isn't just an academic exercise, it's a survival tool. With this knowledge, we can begin to build mental frameworks that protect us from dark psychological tactics. We can learn to question our own beliefs and the beliefs imposed upon us, creating a healthier, more enlightened perspective on our relationships and the world around us. As we delve deeper into more psychological tactics, stay with us as we explore how these manipulative strategies impact our daily lives, often in ways we don't even recognize. Desensitization can be more dangerous than we might acknowledge. It's a gradual process that occurs when individuals are exposed to repeated distressing stimuli until they become numb to it. In a world saturated with information, from graphic news reports to emotional social media posts, our empathy can wither away, creating fertile ground for dark psychological tactics to thrive. With every shocking headline and disturbing story, we risk losing the ability to empathize with others, making us more susceptible to manipulation. Consider the impact of images depicting suffering, such as refugees fleeing conflict or victims of natural disasters. Our initial reactions are often of shock and sadness. However, as we see such images repeated over time, they can lead to a sense of desensitization. We may start thinking, this is just how the world is. This lack of emotional response can render us indifferent, allowing dark psychology manipulation to steer our responses and decisions without our conscious awareness. One of the most profound examples of desensitization occurs in the realm of addiction, specifically, through the consumption of violent video games. A 2009 study published in the Journal of Experimental Social Psychology found that participants who played violent video games displayed reduced empathy towards real-life aggression. Over time, this desensitization can lead to an acceptance of aggression in daily interactions, affecting how we relate to one another. In workplace environments, desensitization can manifest in toxic corporate cultures where unethical behavior becomes normalized. Employees may witness misconduct but choose to remain silent, fearing repercussions or simply becoming numb to the wrongdoings around them. A culture of desensitization thrives when manipulation becomes a tool for achieving goals, often at the expense of empathy and collective moral standards. In relationships, desensitization can corrode the fundamental elements that foster intimacy and connection. If a partner swings between charming affection and emotional distance, over time, the target may desensitize to the manipulation, failing to recognize the detrimental cycle. This erosion of empathy can trap individuals in unhealthy dynamics, leading to emotional isolation. As we navigate a landscape where empathy is diminishing, we must resist the urge to become desensitized ourselves. This begins with awareness and choosing to engage rather than withdraw. Each of us has the power to rekindle the flickering flame of empathy within us. We must ask ourselves difficult questions. Why do we feel detached? How can we cultivate empathy in a world that often seems devoid of it? In continuing our exploration, we'll delve deeper into methods to nourish empathy and resilience in the face of manipulative schemes. The path ahead is fraught with challenges, but it is also filled with potential for personal growth and deeper human connection. Next, we will explore how emotional intelligence can combat dark psychological tactics and help restore our ability to empathize with others. Emotional intelligence, often referred to as EQ, is more crucial now than ever. It is our ability to identify, understand, and manage our emotions as well as the emotions of others. Emotional intelligence equips us with tools to navigate complex social situations, making us less susceptible to dark psychological tactics. But how can we build our emotional intelligence to safeguard our mental health? Daniel Goleman popularized the concept of emotional intelligence in the 1990s, arguing that EQ can be as important, if not more so, than IQ in achieving success in life. Individuals with high emotional intelligence are adept at recognizing emotions in themselves and others, allowing them to respond rather than react impulsively. This skill is invaluable when it comes to discerning manipulation tactics. Consider the workplace, where emotional manipulation can run rampant. An employee may encounter a supervisor who uses guilt or pity to coerce others into working overtime or taking on extra tasks. A person with high emotional intelligence can identify this manipulative behavior, recognizing the underlying emotions driving such tactics and responding assertively instead of submitting. Beyond workplace scenarios, emotional intelligence is essential in personal relationships. For instance, if someone's partner often plays the victim, a person with a lower emotional intelligence may feel guilty and give in, perpetuating unhealthy dynamics. Conversely, an emotionally intelligent partner would identify the manipulation attempts and address them openly, fostering healthier communication. However, building emotional intelligence requires effort and dedication. It is a skill that can be cultivated through practices like self-reflection, active listening, and empathy exercises. Studies suggest that practicing mindfulness can significantly enhance emotional intelligence. Participants in a 2017 study demonstrated improved EQ after engaging in regular mindfulness exercises. By tuning into their emotions and those of others, they became more adept at managing interpersonal interactions without falling prey to manipulation. The powerful synergy between emotional intelligence and resilience presents a formidable barrier against dark psychological tactics. When we can articulate our feelings and understand the emotions of others, we become less likely to be swayed by guilt, fear, or social pressure. Building our emotional intelligence does not just protect us, it empowers us to help others navigate their emotional landscapes as well. As we venture deeper into the nuances of emotional intelligence, ask yourself, what emotions do I struggle to understand? How can I improve this skill set for my mental and emotional well-being? Next, we'll further explore practical steps to enhance our emotional intelligence in everyday situations, equipping ourselves to combat the psychological tactics that permeate our lives. In the realm of dark psychology, 3 personality traits stand out for their role in manipulative behavior: Machiavellianism, narcissism, and psychopathy. Together, they form what is known as the dark triad. Each trait offers unique insights into how certain individuals navigate the world, often at the expense of others. Machiavellianism is characterized by manipulation and exploitation. The term stems from the political philosopher Niccolò Machiavelli, who argued that the ends justify the means. This mindset leads individuals to engage in unethical behavior, as their ultimate goal is personal gain. Consider the case of a corporate executive who hides financial misconduct while promoting a facade of success. Her ability to manipulate her colleagues and the board reflects a classic Machiavellian approach. Then there's narcissism, which involves a grandiose sense of self-importance and a deep need for admiration. Narcissists often lack empathy, making them skilled at exploiting others' emotions. Take the story of a charismatic leader who captivates an audience with promises of prosperity, yet leaves countless followers disillusioned as he prioritizes his own fame over their needs. This focus on self serves as a breeding ground for manipulation. Lastly, psychopathy is marked by a lack of remorse and a superficial charm. Psychopaths can be incredibly engaging and often defy societal norms without guilt, making them dangerous manipulators. One notorious example is that of a con artist who befriends unsuspecting victims, only to later rob them, leaving behind emotional scars. Understanding the dark triad can be critical in recognizing manipulative behaviors in oneself and others. By identifying these traits, we can better equip ourselves to engage with individuals who display them. As we unpack the impact of these traits, one question looms large: what happens when these traits intersect, and how do they create a perfect storm for manipulation? Hypnosis, a state of focused concentration often associated with the power of suggestion, holds a complex relationship with dark psychology. While it can be utilized for therapeutic purposes, it also bears the potential for exploitation. Understanding this duality is crucial as we navigate the influences of suggestion in our lives. The power of suggestion operates on the principle that people can be influenced to adopt certain thoughts or behaviors through subtle cues. Consider the classic example of stage hypnosis. Here, a hypnotist can compel participants to perform humorous or outrageous acts, merely by suggesting they do so. This phenomenon raises questions about free will and how much control we truly have over our actions. Therapeutically, hypnosis is employed to help individuals deal with issues like anxiety, phobias, and chronic pain. It can unlock hidden memories or reframe negative thought patterns. However, the potential for misuse is evident. Hypnotists can wield significant power in their ability to influence suggestible individuals. In a more sinister context, a skilled manipulator could exploit these techniques for personal gain, much like a charismatic leader using persuasion and charm to steer followers from one extreme belief to another. One real-world case that highlights the dark side of suggestion is that of a cult leader who employed hypnotic techniques mixed with psychological manipulation. Through repeated suggestion, members slowly surrendered their autonomy, leading them to commit acts they would never have considered previously. The compelling nature of suggestion can blur the lines between genuine consent and manipulation. As we delve deeper into suggestion's implications, we confront critical ethical questions. Can we ever be truly free from the influence of others? The lingering impact of suggestion challenges our understanding of free will and consciousness. Are we simply puppets on strings, or do we possess the ability to rise above such influences? Only by exploring these complexities can we better prepare ourselves against unwanted manipulation. Fear is one of the most primal human emotions, and those who understand its power can wield it as a tool for manipulation. Dark psychology delves into how fear can be strategically employed to control others, leading to both personal and societal repercussions. At its core, fear can paralyze decision-making, fostering a mindset of compliance. Manipulators may utilize threats or create narratives centered around fear to achieve their objectives. For example, consider a manipulative partner who instills fear of abandonment or betrayal to ensure their partner's loyalty and compliance. This relationship dynamic is peppered with emotional turbulence, illustrating how fear can erode self-esteem and autonomy. On a broader scale, the concept of fear is often exploited in political arenas. Charismatic leaders thrive on spreading fear to consolidate power. Historical events showcase how fear can rally support for dubious policies. The rise of totalitarian regimes, for example, often correlates with instilling a sense of dread among citizens to stifle dissent and promote unwavering loyalty. Propaganda, designed to amplify these fears, creates a fertile ground for manipulation. Consider the case of a government that exaggerates external threats to maintain control over its population. By framing enemies as imminent dangers, fear becomes a tool for justifying invasive policies that compromise personal freedoms. This tactic not only manipulates public perception but cultivates a culture of mistrust and division. Yet, fear isn't purely a weapon wielded by others. Individuals can internalize fear, leading to self-manipulation. How often do we let our fears dictate the choices we make, limiting our potential? The grip of fear can stifle creativity, ambition, and personal growth, leading to an existence dominated by anxiety rather than authenticity. As we contemplate the role of fear in dark psychology, one question emerges: how can we reclaim our power in the face of fear? Only by confronting and understanding our fears can we hope to transcend their control. This journey requires courage, introspection, and a conscious effort to break free from the chains that fear can impose on our lives. Language is a powerful tool in the arsenal of dark psychology. The way we use words can shape perception, manipulate emotions, and control outcomes. Consider the thousands of advertisements we encounter daily. They subtly influence our choices, tapping into our desires and fears.